Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is break down social, psychological, and emotional topics in a variety of areas so that people can live the best life they possibly are able to. We do that on an almost daily basis. We miss some days. It's been a couple of years, and after taking a almost year and a half break because of being in a medical facility for basically a rheumatoid arthritis flare. I'm kind of back in the saddle again, hopefully. We have over 500 subscribers. Would love to double that this year. Get to 1,000, be able to donate some money to charity, and also would love to help some people. Things not to say is going to be our concept for this audio, but if you are looking at kind of ways to communicate in a better way for your own benefit, would love to help with that. I do communications coaching and relationship life business coaching as well, and creativity coaching while we're here. There's very few things I haven't coached in my 14-year career, but if you're looking for a coach, would love to be of service to you. You can reach out in a number of ways. You can do that through Twitter at PO Perception. You can do that here on YouTube in the About Me section. Go to the page, and we'll say what we can get to a way to work together and do some good things. So, things not to say. Things like, it could always be worse. Well, duh. Most of us know ways that our life could be worse. However, saying that to someone who's going through something difficult or something that they think is the worst thing that's ever happened to them is not going to lead you in a positive direction. Matter of fact, it's going to make you the heel of all heels. Because at the end of the day, people want to feel like they are empathized with, not chastised. And when you say it could always be worse, while that may be factually accurate and entirely true, it may not be something that the person is ready to hear, willing to hear, capable of hearing on an emotional, mental, or physical level at any point. So it's better to say something like, there are people that are struggling, and I'm sorry that you're one of them. How can I help? And so when you remind someone they're not alone in their struggle, but that you are willing to focus on them, it can be extremely helpful and much better than passing judgment. The next is, it's not that bad. Well, the trouble with comments like that is that who determines how bad something is, who determines why it's bad or not bad, and how does one begin to kind of look at this is bad, I have it worse, you have it better, and comparatively, bad to who? In other words, the frame of reference that someone has when they say it's not that bad, they're relating it to themselves. However, each person interprets and experiences emotions differently, so therefore what might not be that bad to you could be devastating to someone else. And that's the important thing to begin to remember, is that when we do the comparative contrasting thing, we actually get ourselves in a whole world of trouble. So, the next is telling someone to let it go before they're ready. Saying to somebody there will be a day when you can let this go, or there will be a day when you are capable of looking at this differently, that's helpful because it's reminding them that there's hope at the end of the tunnel. Expecting them to do it today or telling them to let go now before they're ready and before they've processed the emotion can be, ultimately one of the most damaging things you can do, because if you tell someone to let go before they're ready, they're actually going to slow down, if not out and out stop their progress, because they're going to be doing two things. Number one, thinking you're way too harsh on them and thinking you don't understand where they're coming from. And number two, thinking that there's something wrong with them, that they haven't let go of it already, thereby limiting their own emotional processing of whatever they're going through. Another one is, you don't understand how this should work. In other words, that's the label of almost saying to somebody, you're doing it wrong. Whether it's processing emotion, whether it's thinking, talking, speaking, whatever it is, if a person feels judged, condemned, or somehow told that they're doing it incorrectly, this can be super, negative and harmful, not necessarily because a person can't overcome it, but because if they're being told that their own emotions are incorrect or wrong, emotions can be neither right nor wrong for the record, They're just experiences of expression and experiences of interpretation. So, to have an idea that an emotion is right or wrong can lead a person to feel like they have somehow failed. The be all end all of the situation is, um, it. You have to get to a place where the desire to develop understanding means more than maybe nearly anything else. If you're not developing understanding, you're not developing rapport, and you can't move, or it's harder to move beyond challenges. The next is telling someone not to think or talk about whatever they're going through. In other words, the idea here is the thought that, hey, if you are, um, you know, struggling, if you don't talk about it as much, if you don't think about it as much, then it won't affect you as much. Good in theory, horrible in practice, because no one ever sits there and says, "I want to feel miserable. I want to feel badly. This is where I want to be." No, we mostly, not everybody, but many people, kind of sit there and look and go, "Well, if I could stop myself, if I felt in control, I would, but I don't, so I can't, so I haven't. What's wrong with me that I can't? What's wrong with me that I haven't? You're judging me now," and all of a sudden it gets kind of botched up all the way around. The last thing that's kind of painful here that people do, and it's super non-productive. I know how you feel. No, you know how you think you'd feel in my situation. You do not know how I feel because you're not me. I know how you feel is one of the most disrespectful things you can say to someone who's processing emotions, because A, it's not true, and B, it minimizes that they may be different than you, at a different level of acceptance than you, at a different level of being able to cope with things than you, and so now they feel like, you know how I feel? You understand me? You know me better than I know me? Because if I knew me completely, I wouldn't be, you know, I wouldn't be in this situation. I wouldn't be struggling as hard as I am. So it's important to be mindful of how we speak, but there are ways to work around all of that. Hopefully, this has been helpful. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.